Well, I finally had the chance to go in and test this SS VERDAN here. This is going to be the upgrade version of the Judgment Ring. And I'll be honest with you, I had some pretty high expectations of this in the fact that double judgments were working so great already. Not to mention this was going to give an additional 15% global attack, and then the increase to the skill rate just kind of seemed like this thing was going to outperform the Judgment Ring. Now I will say that I am going and using the Nashir Scepter, which you would think would be ideal for this, but I still haven't tried this with any of the other weapons, so it might actually apply better for one of those. But as far as the Nashir, this thing doesn't seem like it's doing any better. It actually kind of feels like it's doing a little worse. Now if you didn't see the video from the other day where I got this SS ring, one of the big kickers on it is we can no longer use two of the same ring. So I technically can't use two of these Verdans, but even worse, I can't use a Verdan and a Judgment Ring, meaning that I was forced to go and turn this one into a Shadow Ring here, and now we're running two separate rings. The other big loser on this is we no longer have bolts in this ring, which is kind of the big staple behind the whole Nashir. And I was running two of them, so once again, anybody asks that question, those bolts do stack. You will get 4 of them for using 2 of them, so that really was a big number when you're going and using the Nashir. Not to mention all the actual lightning upgrades you can get would really amplify it. Instead, we got this Verdan skill here of every 3 rounds doing 100% skill damage of your hero's attack, and your skill crit rate will be increased by 25% for 2 rounds, but that doesn't really seem to be a better situation than losing those bolts. At least in my opinion there, in my feeling of playing the game. The Mythic skill does give 2.5% skill crit damage for each skill crit rate that you own, which is an increase a little bit from the 2% we saw in the regular Judgment. And that last final skill there, the Surpass or whatever they're calling it, that 200% is just going and changing that 100% inside that epic skill and changing that up to 200%. And as far as that skill when going into battle, even though it is 200%, when it was finally going in proccing, my damage number was at 1% of my total damage. It was actually the second worst skill out of like 20 skills that I was seeing in there. Now I don't have a ton of skill crit rate, I'm only at 23%, so when that does go and get in there, I mean, I think that would take it more up to like 48 and then give the multiplier for the damage on that, but still this just felt like it was weaker not having those bolts in there, so I definitely think this is something that's not going to be usable for the Nashir Scepter. For me, I think I'm actually going to go and take the Arcana off of this, put it on the Shadow Ring, and then slot one of my Judgment Rings again, so I at least get a couple of bolts out of it, and we'll see how it goes, but if it still doesn't seem like I'm performing as good as I was before, I might actually go over to the Alorian Sword, make a change of that, use that as a skill build, and kind of just see if it works any better in that situation. Really, I don't understand why they took the bolts off of this. I mean, you would think it going to an SS grade, you'd be seeing an additional bolt in there. So, 3 on it there. And I don't know why we can't even go and slot 2 of them. I guess I could understand of not going and using 2 of the SS grades on it, but I really think we should be able to go through and at least throw a Verdan on and still be able to slot a Judgment. So, not gonna lie on this one, a little disappointed. Really was hoping for this thing to be better and really be OP, take this to the next level, but this just kind of feels like a nerf instead of a buff. But if you want to know everything that came in this update, you should check out this video right here. Thanks for watching, and remember, I pick my butt.